The House Oversight Committee demanding Minnesota Governor Tim Walz hand over documents as we learn new details about the investigation into the $1 billion welfare fraud scandal. And new reports claiming Democratic Congresswoman Ilhan Omar has deep ties to people who personally profited from the alleged fraud. That list includes one of her former campaign officials and a co-owner of the restaurant where Omar held her 2018 congressional victory party. It is important to note the Congresswoman has not been directly linked to the fraud herself. Joining us now is the Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives, Lisa Demuth, who joins me now. And Lisa, thank you so much for doing just that. $1 billion in taxpayer dollars essentially lit on fire. What is your reaction to this staggering fraud scandal that has rocked your state?
For the last 7 years, we have looked at fraud that has exploded under Governor Tim Walz in autism services. Feeding Our Future, the food scandal during the COVID time, is the largest COVID food scandal, taxpayer money waste in the nation. And we've been sounding the alarm over the years. We're finally getting that national attention that we need so much here in our state to have full investigations. But you're right. It's over $1 billion in taxpayer dollars that have gone out to fraud instead of going to the people that needed those services the most.
Tim Walz is up for re-election. What are people, what are residents in Minnesota saying about this?
Tim Walz is up for his third election here in the state of Minnesota. People were surprised when he was re-elected for a second time. But when he was on the national stage just a year ago, it really let the nation know truly who Tim Walz is. Definitely let Minnesotans know his favorability is underwater right now. It's less than 50%. And it's mostly because he has not handled fraud and he's increased our taxes and fees and spent through a record surplus.
You say that $1 billion could just be the tip of the iceberg. That's a pretty big iceberg. What do you mean by that?
Yes, and that is what we've heard from the acting U.S. attorney in the case, specifically looking at some of these things. That was said by acting attorney, U.S. Attorney Joe Thompson. He said this could be just the tip of the iceberg. It could push north almost to $2 billion. Again, these are taxpayer dollars that have been stolen by fraudsters here in the state of Minnesota.
Well, in 2020, according to the New York Times, the Minnesota Department of Education actually questioned Feeding Our Future, which is one of these fraudulent organizations, about all the requests that they were making. And the organization actually threatened the state agency and said that if you don't give us what we want, we're going to sue you, accuse you of racism. And I don't think we really want that kind of negative press. And the state agency caved. That's just one example of the brazen nature of all of this that took place over the course of 5 years. Why do you think this took so long to uncover?
I think there's been a lack of accountability at the very top of our state. You know, if threats were made such as those, you still push through, investigate the fraud, and stop the fraudulent payments that were going out. That is not what we've experienced here in the state. That is the change that we need from the very top. We're grateful that we've got federal partners that are coming in to truly investigate a number of these cases and look into the records. But accountability starts at the top. So that's with the governor and with his commissioners. That's not what we've experienced here in Minnesota.
Well, speaking of the top, of course, Governor Walz has been questioned about this now that it's been uncovered. And here he is talking about why he believes this took place in Minnesota. Watch this.
Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals. Those people are going to jail. We're doing everything we can. But to demonize an entire community on the actions of a few, it's lazy.
So he says that this took place in Minnesota because he's doing too good of a job. What do you think about that?
AAA bond rating is not what criminals look at if they're going to come and do criminal behavior here in the state. What I would say is a well-run state, a generous state, and a prosperous state. But a well-run state does not attract criminal behavior. It means that the dollars that are collected from taxpayers go to the people that need it the most, not to fraudsters.
Yeah, and these people stole $1 billion for themselves while claiming it was going to autistic and hungry children. So let's hope that the punishment here truly meets the crime. Lisa Demuth, Speaker of the Minnesota House of Representatives, we thank you so much for joining us, speaking out about this important topic. You're very welcome.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.